The weather doesn't get any better in Leesburg. Our match tonight is presented by Segra as Loudoun United plays host to Birmingham Legion in the 11th meeting between the two clubs. Alongside Eric Dobransky, Michael Watring with you here this evening. And these are two teams that are desperate for points without a win so far this season. For Loudoun, they're winless in their last 6 matches at home, but 3 of the 4 losses have come by just 1 goal. It's been fine margins.
Yeah, it's a group that want to be the aggressor here at home. For Loudoun, it's about controlling moments. They've had 2 tightly contested matches thus far here at home. They are primed to turn that corner tonight.
Loudoun United have not won at home since August 30th after starting last year red hot. Thor Ufalson this season has 2 of the team's 3 goals. He's provided a little layer of punch, but they need help.
Yeah, that true target, physical presence in the box also sharp and decisive with his movement. As you mentioned, already finding rhythm early in the season, which means he's playing with a lot of confidence.
These are 2 of the 5 teams in the league without a win. Birmingham in their last match faced a boatload of shots, 28 to be exact, the most that they faced in a regular season in club history. After leading 2-0, they would lose 3-2 to the Battery.
Yeah, fine-tuning that space in front of goal is going to be a priority tonight. Before that match against Charleston, only conceded 21 shots in the previous 2 full matches. So time between that, expect this team to be well-organized, well-disciplined.
Birmingham Legion have one of the great goal scorers in league history. Romario Williams is 13th all-time with 67 goals.
Yeah, it's still one of the most consistent threats in this league. His movement, his instincts, his ability to show up in the right moments, those are the qualities that can change a game in an instant.
The last 8 times these 2 teams have met, it has ended with a win for one side or another. They are 2 of the 5 teams in the league without a win so far this season. Will Loudoun or Birmingham walk away with 3 points? We answer that question next.
Business success requires more than just technology. It demands a strategic connectivity game plan, relentless agility, and a human touch. We offer business-only, carrier-grade connectivity, cybersecurity, voice and cloud tailored to meet the diverse needs of our clients. Segra is one of the largest nationwide independent commercial fiber companies in the U.S., with a fiber network infrastructure spanning 28 states. We are Segra. Connectivity, support, solutions.
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novec. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novec also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novec is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novec.com/save.
Welcome back to Leesburg, Virginia. We are just about ready to kick things off here this afternoon in Leesburg, Virginia. Loudoun and Birmingham coming to you here today as we look at the starting 11s brought to you by BSI. And for Loudoun, they make no changes from last week's matchup against Tampa Bay. What do you see out of the potential of this group today?
Yeah, the potential to play on the front foot, but also control the loud moments in both boxes. They're going to lean on Sean Young, James Murphy to make themselves available in a lot of the build-up moments, and then consistency, as you mentioned, Akinyoti, Asenge, Adnan, going to be vital in providing that theme for the match and the terms that this game will be played at.
Conversely, for Birmingham here this evening, they make a couple small changes, but you still have that group up front with Williams leading the charge.
Yeah, and a group that has had some time off, and Williams will lead that line defensively as well. This is going to be a group that wants to build off of some defensive stability, value structure. Keegan Hughes steps right in after signing with the team, impact both halves. D'Arbian is electric out in that wide space. Loudoun want to limit the opportunities on the ball in the final third.
Loudoun debuting the artisanal kits. That is the dark red here this evening. Birmingham have the blue up top, and it trickles down to white at the bottom. We're ready to go. It's a beautiful day here for action. The first whistle of the game blows, and Daniel Farson will stop, and we will hold off play here for just a moment. And we're into action now as Loudoun play host to Birmingham. Loudoun had won the 3 prior meetings on this pitch until last year's 1-0 victory for Birmingham Legion. These two sides sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference table. Of the 5 teams without a win so far this year, 4 are in the East. So the ultimate thought for both of these groups is you're 1 result away from not just jumping from the bottom above a couple teams, you could get above the playoff line with a result here today. What do you expect out of this match?
I would agree 100%, and I think both these teams feel like they're stacking performances and they're trending in the right direction. Although results say that they're not quite there, I think both these coaches and both these teams feel good about the direction that they're leaning towards. Good turnover here from Loudoun.
Daniel Farson picks the initial pockets into the 18, dashing to the right, slicing through 2 players, taken away, however, cleanly. Pasher breaks out.
And to the point you were just making, you are 1 result away from catapulting yourself right in that conversation, and you want to make sure, obviously it's early and this is a long journey, but you do want to make sure that teams in the East feel the pressure from you. They know that you're there, they know that you're going after results and being a playoff caliber team, and consistency is going to win out. Obviously, a lot of teams, you could start out hot, you can start to simmer down towards the middle, or vice versa. We've obviously seen some champions start out their seasons fairly slowly, but get hot at the right time. But these are 2 teams that, with the newcomers, with the new coaching staffs, it's all about trying to put it all together, and you only do that in real time playing matches.
Birmingham have started a season winless in the first 4 twice in club history. One of their best seasons in club history came in 2022 when they went 0-2-2 to start the year. Actually 3-10-4 at one point, and then they finished with a flourish and ended up 4th to be able to enter the playoffs. So despite a slow start, they were able to make a surge just a few years ago. Meanwhile, for Loudoun, they came out of the gates red hot last year with 6 wins in their first 7. And they've only started the year with 4 straight winless once in club history. That was their inaugural year back in 2019. Good takeaway here. 3 goals for the season for Loudoun, 4th fewest in the league. They also have the fewest shot attempts so far this year. But I think if you take a look from a wider scope and just look at the talent that both of these teams have, There's some veteran leadership that both groups have. Akinyoti is 7th all-time in appearances. Kavita is 4th all-time in minutes for Birmingham. He starts the day on the bench, but you have Pasher as well, who has great experience. And then you have some newcomers, some of the younger players that have showcased great skill during their professional careers so far, including this young man right here, Jack Panayotou. So I think both coaches can settle in, at least feeling like the potential to turn the corner isn't that far-fetched to think that these two groups can hit the right stride at the right time.
Well, and when you have that kind of balance and that kind of, I don't want to say turnover necessarily, because we see it across the league. You're going to see rosters change. But when you kind of have the feature that both these teams have with experience and youth, you do kind of expect some of the growing pains to be there within the moments that we're seeing. And I mean, you look at Loudoun, they take the lead against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh goes and equalizes. There's just moments that in that match that you feel like if you can kind of carry some of that and count on some of the experience within your roster to kind of collectively get this team around those moments, maybe you do get a result there. Same thing with Tampa Bay. They go down 1-0 at half, score early in the second half, you're at 1-1, and then that game gets out of hand a few moments later, but it's there for them.
That cross belted towards Panayotou. Connects on this ball in. Out to get it is Koilalet, as he's able to pick it out of the air. For whatever reason, the schedule plays out for Birmingham where they actually haven't played in a couple weeks. And in that match, they led 2-0 against Charleston and then gave up 3 late goals in that match, including a 90+3 eventual game winner. For Loudoun on the other side, they lost to Tampa Bay last week and then Richmond in the Open Cup second round on Wednesday. Good defensive work right there to shut that ball down. And Asenge gets it away. Pressure up top leads to a giveaway. Shoshua. Shoshua again in the middle of the field. Nudges it over, tries to get the return feed. Very congested there. Antwi bangs it off of the first defender. Narrow field right now. Loudoun try to extend that. Bodies collide, go down, but popping right back up to take it is Eamon. Shuttles it along the left-hand side. Yulfarson can't quite get it back. Well defended that time around. That's Antwi again. Murphy. Sean Young. Panayotou pops out. Young pushes it back wide. Birmingham under a little bit of pressure. Take the ball away. And now begin their transitional moment. Birmingham on the other side, just 2 goals this season. Only Monterey Bay have scored fewer. Legion were shut out in the first 204 minutes of the year, then scored twice in a 3-minute window against Charleston. 25th minute and 27th minute of that matchup.
And they did it with such loud transitional moments, and Diarbian was the focal point. His ability to pick up the ball at midfield, as we see another foul. You're going now the other way, but be able to pick up the ball at midfield and just explode into space. And when you have that kind of space to move people, mentioned kind of in the open with the lineups, that Loudoun's going to want to reduce some of the moments that he gets on the ball in the final third, as we see head coach Anthony Limbrick mentioned he praised his team's resilience and togetherness thus far here in the season, obviously just continuing to grow, noting that they're not where they want to be, but felt really good about where they're going, and they also recognize that they could be on the other side of that.
Both of these teams had successful head coaches leave. Ryan Martin to Oakland. Mark Briggs takes his MLS opportunity. And you bring in new minds. Limbrick, his first time in the United States after spending time across the pond. Jay Heaps, meanwhile, was a terrific coach with New England Revolution. taking the Revs to the 2014 MLS Cup final, and one of the visionaries of the club. So that lends a little bit of a hand into the reasoning why both of these teams have started off a little slow. New players, new coaches, new philosophies. And if you go with a 3-match winless run, you take just 1 point out of 9 possible points in, say, June or July. I don't think anybody's hitting the panic button. There might be some frustration, might be some things to get back into, but maybe you have knocks or something going on at the beginning of the season. I think it gets amplified a little bit more.
It does, because slow starts tend to add pressure to get results kind of when you hit that mid-season stride. So you don't want to be the team that is feeling tense about every match you play in because you feel like you've got to get points or you have to maximize your point accumulation, because then that tends to lend itself to playing out of character and making some decisions that aren't in your game model. And that's something that, for both these sides, want to make sure that they're staying right there in the thick of things in the East, because these are two ambitious clubs.
Every team, I think, goes into a season, they might not necessarily talk about it a lot, but they kind of understand the point total that they need to get to. They might have that number in mind. Hey, we got to get to 35 points, and we can feel pretty good about getting into the playoffs with that number in mind. So you know what the number is. You know how many games you have still at play, and a night like tonight, one of these two teams looking to get their first win of the year. Overlapping run here, bodies inside of the 18. Really good read there to get that ball away after Asenge, or check that was Awua, had found some space.
And this is some of the differences we're seeing from both these teams right now. Birmingham able to generate some dangerous opportunities, but not fully coming to fruition and very isolated, whereas in Loudoun, they are doing it collective. They're flooding some good spaces. They're having good representation in the box. Yet to find that payoff, but earn a dangerous corner here early.
Looks like Sean Young is the man that is down right now. A little bit of a windy day, but sun shining here in Leesburg.
Sean Young is one of those engines in midfield. I mean, he has come in flying this season. His ability to get on the ball, put himself in good positions where he could receive and go attack opponents. So for Anthony Limbrick and his side, you got to hope that Sean Young is okay and still available.
They're playing without Abdelatif Abukura. Lower body injury for him, and there's a couple different players that also on the mend right now for Loudoun. Some talented players that they really rely on. Sal Matsafaro, one of their key acquisitions this year, he's also unavailable with good pedigree as they try to get everybody back and healthy, and might get a better sense of what this team looks like once everybody does return.
And we spoke to Anthony Limbrick about kind of some of what he's seen early in the season and talked about the different styles that you're going to see within the USL Championship. And you hear it from a variety of different coaches, some of the transition moments and how loud those become and defining those become in matchups. And I think that's going to be an area for his group that value the ball, that enjoy the possession aspect, but just not possession just to say you have the ball, but the purposeful aspect and element that it presents, but also putting yourself in a good position where you're asking the right questions defensively to absorb some of those big moments, the verticality that you got to deal with some of these matchups. I mean, obviously you're dealing with a player like Romario Williams, who is so clever and crafty with his movement off the ball. You always have to account for where he is and the space that he is occupying. So we do see the trainer signaling that he does need to make an early sub.
Jay Heaps, the leader, a former Herman Trophy winner during his playing days, and there you see it. Good window with the Revs in MLS as the head coach, and now his first season taking over the helm of this Legion side.
And that matchup at Charleston is such a unique matchup. You mentioned it, 2-0 at the break, and it really looked like a lot of the momentum was with Birmingham, and then they just absorbed so much in the second half.
So it will be a required change. Pedro Santos, the 37-year-old, replaces Young, and that's certainly not in the pamphlet for how this game would go in an ideal world for Loudoun.
Modern United substitution in the 15th minute.
But it is a corner kick here, nevertheless. Diaz swings it in. Second ball bounced across. Now Birmingham look to break. There's space on that side. They leave it all the way back. 1v1 against the keeper. It chips in, and ultimately it's finished on the doorstep. Pasher scores the opening goal right off of a restart. His first of the year and 40th in the USL Championship. Puts the Legion ahead 1-0.
And these are those big transitional moments. We see this ball clipped in, left-footed from Diarbian. Well left by Tyler Pasher, knowing that if he just continues his run, he's gonna be able to occupy that space, beat his defender to the area. Exactly how Birmingham Legion wanted to start this match, exactly the threat that they wanted to show, the verticality, the transition, and the decisiveness.
Talk about a frustrating moment, though, if you are Loudoun and you have a attacking corner kick after a break because you have to sub a player off and you get exposed like that to allow Pasher to score in transition. But the veteran leadership on full display there. Instead of taking that first ball, he allowed the overlap from Vassell to take it, and then Pasher put himself in a good spot. Diaz has it. Hustles to get back on it, and he's called for the foul. Continuing along the early physicality of this matchup.
And anytime you have a moment like that, you also tip your hat to the recognition, because you go from that defensive moment, defending a corner, and then the ability to build out and get the appropriate distances, and then the decision-making that comes along with it. Good execution, quality all around.
How does Loudoun respond now? These two teams have combined to lead for a grand total of 59 minutes all year. Loudoun did so for 5 minutes against Pittsburgh in the opener. Birmingham had a lead for 54 minutes against Charleston 2 weeks ago. Two teams that have spent the majority of their time on the wrong side. Granted, Birmingham have spent 156 minutes tied. Only 33 total minutes trailing, thanks to that late winner from Charleston in stoppage time.
You know, we talk about early season results, momentum, tempo. For Jay Heaps and Birmingham, you're not out to that 2-0 lead you were at Charleston, but you also collectively want to show that you've learned from that moment. Now you take an early 1-0 advantage. Can you continue the defensive structure and the challenge to be broken down, and do that and sustain it through a 90-minute match now? Because for Loudoun, anytime you concede that early, yes, you're going to be disappointed with, you had an attacking corner, you gave it a transition moment, but there is still so much time. You know that there is one goal out there to go earn. You just need to make sure you don't concede a second. So you need to be the team that scores the next goal. And for Birmingham, it becomes that fine balance between preserving a 1-0, but also going after a second goal.
Loudoun had only given up 2 of 6 goals this year in the first half. So they find themselves behind early in this one. And trying to begin the comeback trail. The only time these teams have ever played to a draw was in August of 2019. It was 1-1 here at Segra Field. Santos fakes the first cross, gets the second cross in. Ylfarsson can't get the extra leg to it, but does win his side a corner kick. They just had one about 5 minutes ago that eventually set up Birmingham's goal.
Yeah, and what you don't want is you see this attacking sequence, and again, good numbers. You do want the layers to start to develop there. You do see some flat runs and representation along the line, but what you don't want is that last moment to turn into being conservative here on an attacking corner.
Diaz was electric last year in MLS Next Pro. Drills this ball into the middle of the box. Keeper comes out for a moment. Instead, Birmingham control and get it out. Sidewinding ball to the top of the 18. It rolls to the middle of the field. Senge. Loudoun do settle this ball down. 20 minutes in, Birmingham 1. Loudoun 0. Pasher's goal in the 16th minute in a counterattack. The difference, Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky and our team with you. Here goes Panayotou. He stumbles to the surface. Awua chips it in. Ylfarsson, I think, might have gotten his chest on it, but couldn't slow it down enough. They whistle the foul here. Mario Williams tracking back. The USL on CBS Sports Network kicks off on April 18th with an Eastern Conference showdown. Charleston Battery takes on fast start Tampa Bay Rowdies at 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch the action on the CBS Sports Network on April 18th. And a quick update. Charleston continues to lead Lou City. It's 1-0 in the 65th minute. Casadu scored in the 20th minute to give the Battery the advantage after Charleston stumbled against Charlotte Independence in the Open Cup earlier this week. Looking to end the 20-match unbeaten run for Lou City in the regular season. Pass the first man, pass the second. Pasher lays it off. Hamuda, Williams. Both players couldn't make contact, and that's fortunate for Loudoun.
Collective sigh of relief when that ball falls down to Romario Williams. That is typically an area where he...
Flag goes up here for offside. That's kind of an unfortunate break. Ylfarsson was in a good spot, but Diaz gets knocked down, and Ylfarsson is arguing that it should be a foul. But our center referee says offside is going to supersede it, and it's going to be a free kick.
Now that's interesting because it looked like the center official had signaled that this was the call. He'd let play resume. And the sideline official signaled the offside as now we see a yellow. And they are coming back to the free kick for Loudoun.
Familiar face for Loudoun fans. A team debut for Keegan Hughes. Spent the 2024 season here with Loudoun. So after a chat, instead of a free kick for Birmingham, bring it back for Loudoun.
A continental card, yellow card has been issued in the 23rd minute. The Birmingham Legion, number 5,
Santos and Diaz stand next to each other. Marcos Diaz, Revs 2 all-time record holder in just about every category. Sends this ball towards the left side of the 18. First ball is headed in. Second ball, Adnan tried to get a piece. Instead, Awuwa drills. Looks pretty good from up here, but Kolelat catches it.
Good numbers in and around the box for Loudoun there on the recycled play. Going back to that Charleston game for Birmingham, Kolelat was magnificent. I mean, I know there was 3 goals conceded, but made some huge saves in big moments, and he's going to want to continue that trend, but obviously with the blend of managing this match, and I mean manage it with the expectations of go and be threatening in some of the big transitional moments that you were, but also find some moments where you can slow this game down and build through the thirds and put your foot on the ball.
The goal scorer, Pasher, across midfield for Birmingham Legion. All told, in the history of this series, 25 different players have scored at least 1 goal. It is consistently a variety. The last time they met was October of last year. A.J. Patterson scored a penalty kick in the 29th minute. That proved to be the difference in a 1-0 victory, and it was an end to a 3-game home winning streak for Loudoun in the fixture. Hamuda chases. Adnan Sherpas it out for a goal kick. Well, if you're Loudoun, you're looking at the schedule and thinking Lou City's coming up, at Hartford, and then Charleston Batteries next on deck. This is a very important game to try to get points at home before that 3-game stretch. Hamuda has it taken away. Diaz turns. Yulfarson has it. Dribbles in. Yulfarson belts. Picked his head up. Here's a goal score. Maybe a little bit out of range, but things starting to brew here for Loudoun.
You wonder if he was looking to clip this right over Kolelat, who seemed to be drifting at the top of the 6-yard box, but does not get that final touch.
Good run here. Just out of the reach, though, of Pasher. And out for a goal kick.
And those are the moments that kind of showcase themselves when you can occupy certain areas of the field for Birmingham Legion. You can then kind of thin out this back 3 and really create some spaces, generate some big passing lanes, and then those lanes then turn into some overloads with some good numbers. 1v1s, 2v1s, could turn over here.
And give it right back. And Loudoun can now push into the action. The Legion have given up 4 goals this year. All have come in the second half. Loudoun trying to strike with an equalizer here in the first. Santos out of the reach of his teammates. Just beyond the touchline and out for a goal kick at this end now.
And that's going to be some of the variety that Loudoun want to add to their game, not even just today, but moving forward, is when you do turn over an opponent where their numbers are already climbing the field, putting themselves in the attacking third, can you hit them? And you look at Yulfarson, who's close enough with him to play with him, because he was stretching the field, but he had 2 defenders on him, so you don't really have that outlet. You got to dribble up the field, and it's not done with tempo. So how can you grow into being more ruthless as this season goes on when you win your defensive duels and you've got good numbers going forward?
Yulfarson, cheeky little flick. Diaz tries to return the favor. Awuwa bobbles, and it goes out. You see the clever play, though, of Loudoun And you feel like once these relationships develop, they could be threatening.
Well, you talked about in the open the consistency in this lineup. Obviously, we just saw, unfortunately, Sean Young come off here early. But those are relationships that are going to, there's going to be no question that they pay dividends down the line. But we've also talked about it. You just don't want to get off to such a sluggish start that you're playing from that far behind and you're almost in playoff mode come match 16, and 15 of those you've kind of sputtered out of the gate. So obviously only in match 4 for both these teams, but still the league play will start kind of ramping up and come at you fast. We've had some Open Cup sprinkled in. Obviously we'll have Prinks USL Cup coming up.
Maneuvering on that sideline. Corner kick. Just enough work on that sideline from Richie Amon to win a corner. On loan from DC United, a national champion a year ago with Washington. Marcos Diaz heads over an MLS Next Pro record 13 assists last year. Also scored 10 times. Playmaker in every sense of the word. At the half-hour mark, Pasher scored in the 16th minute off of a corner kick defensively that led to a counter. Diaz slingshots this ball in. It's redirected. It's loose, and it is an equalizer. James Murphy shovels it in. Loudoun tie it up at the half-hour mark. What a piece.
And you like the questions that Loudoun had been asking off these deliveries, and also the rewarding themselves off their runs. They were occupying good spaces. They were also recognizing where each other were early and often, and James Murphy being the beneficiary there. When you win first contact, you put yourself in a position where you can then influence second and third contact in those waves, and that's the phase that James Murphy and his side win. They find the equalizer here in the first half.
Murphy's first goal in a Loudoun kit. Last scored in July of last year for Indy 11 at North Carolina. Birmingham allow a first half goal for the first time this year. And corner kicks from that side of the field, that's when you need to turn all your attention into this game, because a counterattack led to the goal for Birmingham, and now it is a goal for Loudoun off of a corner this time.
Yeah, it's all been played on one moment in terms of, for Birmingham, that transition moment to your point, and then the quality delivery, and then the willingness and commitment to get up, make that contact, put your teammates in a position where they can then get Birmingham scrambling in their own box. We were talking about a little bit of the roster for both these teams. Obviously for Loudoun, the characteristics that Anthony Limbrick and this side have brought in. I mean, Marcos Diaz, James Murphy, an elite distributor across his career in this league. Panayiotou, so creative, and then you put him on some set pieces. Ofarson, I mean, you go through the list. Obviously, Sean Young is really coming along. Hopefully, this injury doesn't keep him out for a sustained moment, but this is a group that has a lot of potential to start clicking and start flying.
After the hydration break, back into action here. Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky, and our team with you. Pasher started the scoring for Birmingham in the 16th minute. Murphy equalizes in the 31st. Anthony Limbrick told us that it's been a difficult start to the year, but feels like they could have been on the other side of that disappointment. Felt like the game against Richmond was a good game. Ultimately, just couldn't get the final product, and that's kind of been the case for this group this year. Feels like this group can ultimately get to that next level, and they've done well responding so far tonight. Bodies collide and a foul is given, and much to the disdain of Amon.
And this is going to be a disappointing set piece to concede for Loudoun. Right after scoring a goal, now you're going to put your pressure on yourself to defend this, and Adam Beaudry to step in, guide this free kick. We take another look at Anthony Limbrick. So he talked about sometimes it's nice to play a match after a disappointing midweek result in that Open Cup, turn around and play a match right off the bat and kind of get right back into rhythm, right back into competition. And we knew after the Birmingham goal there was still a lot there for Loudoun. Now have to deal with this free kick.
Samuel Shashua lifts it at top, and it's just over the crossbar. Pretty good kick though, nevertheless. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Peniotu, Diaz. Gets it back, cannot quite keep it in, however. Williams draws contacts, and another whistle. Quick restart over the top. And you can hear the frustration from Birmingham. That one looked pretty good.
And it ends with you being tackled, so that's never a fun restart. Oh, let's go ahead and start this all over again after I just trekked down the field and then had to deal with defender tackling me. But for Loudoun, 17 final third entries, and this is the numbers that they're going to like, but they're also going to see some upgrade opportunities. 17 final third entries to this point. 12 of those final third entries have equated to touches in Birmingham's box. So you like how effective you're being, but now can you turn those into quality looks is going to be the other transitional moment.
Birmingham trying to produce that on this end of the field. Sashua works wide this time. And Amir Daly's contact goes out of play.
Because right now, from all their shots, only 2 shots on target for Loudoun.
And only 3 of the 5 shots in the box so far. So to your point, getting the ball inside of the 18, but not necessarily translating to those high-value goal-scoring chances, at least as of yet.
And then for Birmingham, it would almost kind of reverse the storyline. It does mean that you're inviting some of that pressure upon yourself. You're retreating into your own 18-yard box, which we did see a bit of against Charleston. When you have that 2-0 lead, that human element starts to creep in. You play on the back foot. Good dribble and drive there. And Diarbian is going to be a player that kind of reignites Birmingham in what they want to do offensively. Obviously, Romario Williams is a focal point. Tyler Pasher is terrific. But getting Diarbian on the ball, faced up, he just requires so much support from the opposing back line that he can move defenders, manipulate space.
Corner kick taken short. Williams can't slow it down. Loudoun now break. Awua lifts it over the top. Diaz chases. Belela is out to capture. Farson now provides pressure with Diaz. That ball's given away. Birmingham nearly made an absolute mess out of that.
Yeah, nervy moments for Birmingham, but no harm, no foul. They're back in the attacking half.
Vassell across the field. Give and go. Daly shoots across. Birmingham not letting Loudoun rest at all here in any of these moments, and that's something that Anthony Limbrick knew. Counter-attacking moments is where Birmingham can really be impressive, and they've already done it today with the goal.
Well, and also recognizing those moments after scoring a goal is what we had talked to him this week about, because a lot of the matches that they've played have been so unique. But that Pittsburgh match, take the lead, just a few moments later you can see the equalizer. You have some other big moments that could have led to a different result. Go to a tough place to play at Al Lang Stadium. Tampa Bay Rowdies, 1-0 deficit at half, equalize, but just a few moments later you score in the 48th to equalize, then you concede in the 52nd, and then ultimately concede in the 80th to see that 3-1 result. So you scored in the 31st just today to equalize in the first half.
Ylfarsson brings it down. He's on his backside, asking for a penalty. No whistle heard.
And that's where Ylfarsson's gonna challenge you. He can do it with his technical ability, but he could also do it with his physicality. Playing in between two defenders, making those two players make a decision.
Final 5 minutes of the first half. Level at a goal apiece. Pasher in the 16th minute for Birmingham. Murphy knots the tally in the 31st minute for Loudoun. And 2 of the 5 teams in the league without a win so far. Tied up at a goal apiece. Ylfarsson chases. Rhode Island is playing right now against Detroit. They are scoreless in the 77th minute, and this is going to be a booking as well. Here, Panayotou gets shown a yellow card.
Some of the ways you limit transitional moments is when an opposing player is able to break the line, especially on the dribble, and recognize your defensive responsibility in that tactical moment. So pay the repercussions of having to be on a yellow.
Yellow cards are presented by Continental Cards. Well, either team had a goal before halftime. This might help the cause. For Birmingham, a foul against Adnan.
And this is what you don't want to see kind of lend itself into this game for Loudoun, is you feel like you've started to manage and minimize some of the threat in the counterattack because you got hit with that opening goal. So you settle in and say, okay, we knew that this was going to be an area that we had to be honed in on. We got scored on, let's wake up, let's tighten up, let's fine tune that area. But now you're starting to let some of the free kicks kind of develop into this game and allowing Birmingham to get numbers in. Obviously they go short here. They don't put one in the box, but it still allows them to get positionally set. Although they've had some casual giveaways in possession.
And this will help Loudoun. Diaz pulls the strings from the left channel. Panayotou back out wide. Numbers flood the 18. Murphy puts his foot on the ball. Akinyoti. That pass won't reach the target. The Arbian springs to action. That's a nice touch. Gets an angle. Ball won cleanly off of the Arbian, and that is really good work there from Noah Adnan. The former Stanford Cardinal wins it cleanly and sets up a goal kick.
And Jay Heap's upset, but credit the tackle, the timing, he recognized right away as soon as Diarbian took that bigger touch that he had to go ahead and sell out, go in for the tackle. And on top of that, you get it off of Diarbian. Good switch here.
Panayotu to the touchline. Dribbles, rolls it up top, settling. Murphy didn't have a target over there.
Yeah, just crossed up. Misfiring for Loudoun in terms of the run and what they wanted in that moment. But I mentioned Diarbian for Birmingham. I would say the dueling position is Panayotu on the same side. Can you bring Diarbian back so defensive because of the work that you're doing as an attacking presence for Panayotu? Because Panayotu, I believe, for Loudoun is a player that we've seen the talent that he has, and he's been in the USL Championship. He's made a terrific impact, and he's coming along in the season. He just has to have that consistent, sustained influence. And in this match, can you pin Diarbian back because of that presence? And we've seen a number of times that he's had to come down and down press.
There will be a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time added to the half, brought to you by Novak.
Stoppage time added to the first half. 5 minutes. Brought to you by Novak.
And that injury to Sean Young earlier, he had to come out in the 15th minute. Pedro Santos replaces him. Here's a look at Panayotu. Another one of those New England Revolution ties. Not just the players with Loudoun, but also the former coach. Jay Heaps leading Birmingham's charge. Eamon has an angle here. Doesn't keep it in play. Goal kick. Ran a few times in this first half in which Loudoun has been able to get the ball to the touchline, but just had too much steam on it as it trickles across the chalk. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
And credit Pedro Santos for having to come in for Sean Young on such short kind of warm up and kind of knowing that you weren't in the 11, so you don't prepare to come in that early in a match. He has come in and settled this game down. He's allowed James Murphy to climb the field a bit higher. He's allowed Awua to be as dangerous and as influential going forward. He's got that vision, he's got that creativity, and then he's got the passing range. He can unlock a lot of different things. He's really clever with kind of putting a defender in a position where you think he's reading a long ball and he's got a bit of distance on it, but then he can kind of pull people apart with some of those intermediate passes.
I think the thing that Anthony Limbrick has to be most exuberant about at this point, his team has only allowed one shot attempt on target. They lead the league in the category, having given up 26 through the first 3 games of the year. They've given up at least 8 in each of the first 3 games of the year this year. So if they can get that number down, perhaps it would lead to results. Granted, tonight, the one shot on target ended up being a goal from Pasher in the 16th minute.
It's one of those stats that you're proud of, but you're also kind of shying away from when your goalkeeper is one of the league leaders in saves. You're proud that they're stepping up and making those saves, and we've seen 2 different goalkeepers for Loudoun play this season, but you also want to limit some of those looks.
Awua, Diaz up top. Maybe one too many passes that time around. Asenge brings it down. Diaz lays it off to the wide side. Adnan back, Murphy mashes. Just wide in the end, but seeing a little bit of that clever build start to work here for Loudoun.
And the recognition of how compact Birmingham gets there in their own 18-yard box. You're able to play this ball out wide, and there is the player that you want on the ball in that moment, James Murphy. Puts it just off frame, and not only do you find the equalizer in this half, but to the point you were just making about shots on target, against, you also feel like you've reclaimed all that momentum. So can you continue that going into the break, kind of fine-tune some areas, and then go after finding that and earning that second goal?
Final minute of the minimum 5 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half. These are two of the 5 teams in the league without a win so far on the year. One of the others is in stoppage time in the second half. Rhode Island scoreless with Detroit City. The other, Sporting Jacks host Tampa Bay Rowdies, 7:30 p.m. kickoff for that one, and Monterey Bay plays host to San Antonio at 10 o'clock. Loudoun leads 6 shots to 4 in the game. Shashua leaves it left. Hamuda. Shashua. The Arbian. Be the first half whistle, and indeed it is. First half in the books in this one, and two teams that are desperate for points. Played well in spurts, also got exposed in a moment here or there. What are your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, for Jay Heaps and Birmingham, gotta like the start to this match, but you gotta start looking at some of the outlets and the distances, winning the proximity. When you're defending like that, can you find that ability to play forward? And for Loudoun, having a lot of possession in and around the box, can they find that change of tempo in the final third to find that final action and that final moment?
We'll step out for a break here, but we have plenty to come. Updates on USL players internationally, as well as the schedule upcoming here this evening. We're level at a goal apiece. Halftime brought to you by Segra comes your way when we come back here to Leesburg, Virginia, with Loudoun and Birmingham level at 1.
Business success requires more than just technology. It demands a strategic connectivity game plan, relentless agility, and a human touch. We offer business-only, carrier-grade connectivity, cybersecurity, voice and cloud tailored to meet the diverse needs of our clients. Segra is one of the largest nationwide independent commercial fiber companies in the U.S., with a fiber network infrastructure spanning 28 states. We are Segra. Connectivity, support, solutions.
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novec. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novec also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novec is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novec.com/save.
It's a mad dash on the field. Easter season is here. Let the egg hunting begin. The fans here at Segra Field going full steam ahead, looking to pick up the eggs here at Segra Field. Handfuls upon handfuls, Peeps, Reese's Eggs, your favorite treats available on the field. Hope you're having a good weekend, everybody. Let's take a look at the update from around the USL. Dan Lucas sets the stage with some of the USL players internationally.
With the field for World Cup 2026 now set, the USL can enjoy its place in the countdown to history. Never before has an active USL player taken part in a World Cup, until now. For the past 2.5 years, more than 30 players from USL Championship and League One battled through World Cup qualifying. This summer, 6 of them have a chance to hit the field for their respective countries. Miami FC teammates Eloy Rom and Jurgen Locadia made history, helping Curacao qualify for the World Cup for the first time ever. Curacao will face Germany, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador in group play. And for the first time since 1974, Haiti will take part in the World Cup, following a very unique road through qualifying. 4 championship players, Duke Lacroix and Garvin Matusala of Colorado Springs, Delence Pierre from FC Tulsa, and Carl Sente from New Mexico United, led Haiti through qualifying without playing a home match. Now the Haitian team faces a tough group at the World Cup with matches against Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland. But while World Cup qualifying owned the spotlight in late March, several USL players took part on U.S. youth national teams, also on the world stage. Colton Swan of Charleston Battery scored a goal for the U.S. Under-20 team against Argentina in Argentina. Orange County SC's Tyson Espy played for the Under-17 team in Paraguay. And the U.S. Under-18 team played in Portugal, featuring Ramiz Hamuda from Birmingham Legion, Brandon Days of Louisville City, and Jameer Johnson from Orange County SC.
This week on USL All Access, there's a new general leading the charge on the sideline for Louisville City. Interim head coach Simon Bird joins us to talk about how he plans to maintain consistency for Titletown. What went right for San Antonio FC? What went wrong for Charleston and Detroit? And who's got Cupset on their mind in the second round of Open Cup?
You'll see it SiriusXM FC or the USL YouTube page every Tuesday night.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Prinks tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks tires will be there for the long haul.
The header is down! It's in! Charleston takes the lead and stops! Nice ball, sends it! Doubles the Rowdies lead!
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novec. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novec also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novec is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novec.com/save.
It is halftime in the USL Championship. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines for this week. Louisville City became the first club to win 200 regular season matches in the USL Championship with its 1-0 victory at Brooklyn FC. Louisville accomplishes that feat in 342 regular season matches. Round 2 of the U.S. Open Cup featured some great matchups between championship clubs. Rhode Island FC knocks off El Clamico rival Hartford 2-0 on a soggy night. Here are the clubs from USL that are headed to the third round. USL is very busy in the upcoming weeks on national television. Next Saturday, Sporting Jacks at Detroit City on 2DN. Then a pair of matches on the CBS Sports Network. Saturday the 18th, a 3 o'clock start. Tampa Bay Rowdies at Charleston Battery. El Clamico returns on Saturday the 25th, this time in the Prince Hired USL Cup. That's a look at the headlines for this week. Let's get you back to your match for the second half.
Let's take a look at the schedule right now, as there are a couple of games in the books, but plenty of games coming up later on this evening, including Pittsburgh and Indy 11. Sporting Jacks tries to get their first win of the year, as does Monterey Bay at home against tough competition in Sacramento and Tampa Bay. A lot of fun action happening here tonight.
Yeah, Phoenix Rising going on the road to Sacramento Republic, trying to pick up their first win of the season, of regular season. Massive Open Cup win midweek, so they're going to try to translate that performance into tonight. And Pittsburgh Riverhounds looking to kind of continue that early season form, but also bounce back.
Score is tied at halftime at 1 goal apiece. Halftime brought to you by Segra. Continues on as we set the stage for half 2 with our first half highlights next.
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novak. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novak also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novak is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novak.com/save.
Business success requires more than just technology. It demands a strategic connectivity game plan, relentless agility, and a human touch. We offer business-only, carrier-grade connectivity, cybersecurity, voice and cloud tailored to meet the diverse needs of our clients. Segra is one of the largest nationwide independent commercial fiber companies in the U.S., with a fiber network infrastructure spanning 28 states. We are Segra. Connectivity, support, solutions.
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novak. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novak also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novak is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novak.com/save.
Halftime is brought to you by Segra. Loudoun scores late to tie things up after an early Birmingham goal. And we're 1-1 through 45. Michael and Eric back with you as we look back at a first half of action that saw some ebbs, some flows, some peaks, some valleys, but this was off of a Loudoun corner that sets up Tyler Pasher, and it's that first move to let the ball go by that sets him up.
Yeah, one of the valleys for Loudoun United. Going to be disappointed with their defensive recognition off of this attacking set piece. Is going to be a moment where they talk about at the break. just blow up the play. You know that you're getting, you have a team that's good in transition, so electric, and they're clever with their decision making in those moments, and Birmingham make them pay. But Loudoun kept asking questions from that corner. Good delivery. Then when you make first contact, typically good things happen. Get a nice deflection there, and then this ball gets played back into the middle, and James Murphy tucks his first goal away of the season and for his time at Loudoun United. And it's what happens when you have veterans in and around the box. They tend to occupy those dangerous spaces. Loudoun has to feel good about the way they ended that second half. Birmingham has to feel like they have to start the second half the way they started the first.
I don't think that we're necessarily going to get crazy in the second half, but I know both teams are very motivated to try to get 3 points in this matchup. And with that in mind, Loudoun making a change. Panayotu, who picked up a yellow late in that first half, comes off, and Pacific Nyangabire comes in to the match. The 26-year-old from Burundi is onto the pitch.
Substitution for Loudoun United at the start of the second half. Now in the match, number 7, Pacific Nyangabire.
Our second half begins here between Loudoun and Birmingham. In the first 10 meetings between these teams, there's only been one draw. That was a 1-1 finish on this field back in 2019. And a substitution brought to you by Segra. Once again, Panayotu off. Nyangabire is in. Michael Watrang, Eric Dobransky in our team, enjoying a sun-soaked Saturday of Easter weekend here in the USL Championship. So great to have you with us for our matchup in this one. And these are two teams that feel like they're about to turn the corner. It's been 2 weeks since Birmingham's last match. Meanwhile, Loudoun have played twice in the last week, both losses, once to Tampa Bay and then 1-0 to Richmond in the US Open Cup. And Eric, you look at the second half, how do these teams refine what they did in that first half and find ways to get more quality goal-scoring chances?
Yeah, I think for Jay Heaps and Birmingham, it's about the distances that they have between the lines and how you can generate and sustain attacks from keeping your defensive structure, but also giving yourself some opportunity to threaten Loudoun, because sometimes the best defense is that threat to go forward and keeping a team honest. And for Loudoun, it's just an uptick in some of the tempo in the final third. You mentioned in the first half, some of those balls on the dribble to the byline have run past. It's just some of the quick link-up plays, some of the quick decision that they're looking for. It's kind of been some of the same tempo from the back third, the middle third, to the attacking third. So can they play with a bit more urgency in that moment? So we see changes for both these teams. You said it, these are two teams that are not gonna rest at a 1-1 scoreline. They're gonna go after all 3 points. And mentioned it at the break with the Pittsburgh matchup. Birmingham hosting Pittsburgh coming up. Pittsburgh coming off their first clean sheet of the season, albeit in the US Open Cup against Virginia Dream, but they're yet to have a clean sheet in regular season play. So I was talking about them bouncing back. They've conceded 5 goals in 2 matches. So that's going to be a team that...
Ball headed in, the shot attempt just does miss the post and the net. But that was a really good early moment in the second half, and that is one of those changes. Sebastian Tregarthen.
And that verticality, it can scare a lot of back lines into dropping deeper, which then provides more space in the midfield for you to play in and out of. What an introduction to this match. Almost tucks that one away.
Cutting that substitution up, brought to you by Segra. Hamuda and Vassell are the two that check off. Tregarthen and Dawson McCartney are the two that come in for Birmingham. So both teams have made 2 changes in this game. One of Loudoun's changes forced in the 15th minute when Sean Young was injured, and Pedro Santos came in. Murphy to put the ball back in play, and does so. Worst overall start in club history for Loudoun was in 2021. They won just one of their first 8 that season, but the only time that they've ever started with 4 consecutive winless was 2019. It's 2 losses, 2 draws that year. They have 2 losses and a draw, just like Birmingham here this season.
But you look at the makeup of both these teams as you see the frustration of Jay Heaps, because he feels like his team had earned a free kick at midfield. So having that chat with the 4th official. But you look at the makeup of both these teams and the start for both these teams, and you have to imagine that that's just not going to continue to trend in that direction. But you also know how difficult this game is and how challenging this league is, that you can't just assume that results are coming. You have to go after them. You have to be aggressive. You have to go make things happen. And that's where both these teams are kind of growing into their identity, attaching their game model with those game-changing behaviors. And that's why this second half is going to be so fascinating, because both these teams are going to want to go after that second goal and pick up all 3 points and not settle for 1.
Isaac and Yodi, 21,000 minutes he hit the last week. Pasher rolls it right to the path of Tregarthen. Rolls this ball in, a chance here. Beaudry stops the initial chance. Gets his body in front, and he leads the league in saves, and that might have been the most important of the year so far. Cross knocked away, lifts up top. Williams drifts it over, still loose, body swarm. Get the ball out.
A massive save from Beaudry there. Good drive here.
But the pass gets knocked to the sideline and picked up by McCartney.
And already a better start for Birmingham here in the second half. And this is all starting from them doing what they did in the first half, finding space behind Awuah and Amen and moving that back 3, making sure that you're playing into those wide channels, obviously getting Diarbian on, but also getting Amir Daly on the ball. You're causing that back line to shift, get unbalanced.
Diaz rolls it out wide. Cross in. There's nobody in the middle of the box, only to the right and left sides. Neon Gabiri tracks it down. Murphy rolls it into a pocket here. This shot attempt just misses. Richie Amon in a pretty good spot again, and both sides showing their attacking skill right now.
Yeah, there's that mix of patience, but also urgency. Occupying good spaces, stretching your opponent, and then playing that ruthless ball forward. But it looked like in that sequence and the sequence before, when you get Neon Gabiri on the ball, you just need that final quality. You need that quality from the wide space. You need that quality from the half space.
Speaking of quality, here's Romario Williams. Dribbles in, swings it around. First touch, Beaudry doesn't stop this. Instead, it is Pasher for the second time, stinging the strings. Legion back in front by a goal.
Really just a mix-up at midfield for Loudoun, a turnover. And Romario Williams recognizes the run of Tyler Pasher, but more importantly, is clinical on the pass and the shape of that ball. And terrific composure from Tyler Pasher. Does not rush the take, settles it down, makes Beaudry make the first move, and then that influences his second action. He tucks it in the back of the net. Now it's on Loudoun to respond again, and this is going to be the start that Jay Heaps and this side wanted to the second half, especially after what they would feel is a disappointing lull in that first 45.
Pasher has now scored 5 times in his career against Loudoun as he bangs a brace here today. He had a brace back in the round of 32 of the Open Cup against Tampa Bay in 2024. Williams unable to get that ball past a defender. The last time Pasher had a brace in the USL's regular season was St. Patrick's Day of 2023. Did so against FC Tulsa. That was a 3-2 win in that match. Well, the story of half number 2 is similar to the story of half number 1. Pasher starts the scoring, and let's see if Loudoun can find a rebuttal.
And you look at the 2 goals against for Loudoun, and you're going to highlight how preventable those 2 goals are, but I would also highlight the other side of the ball for Birmingham. The opportunistic nature that requires. The first goal, aggressive on the outlet ball, and then that outlet ball then triggers and initiates all of the aggressive runs going forward that lead to the opener. And then same thing for Romario Williams, the veteran presence, knowing that the miscommunication, and then right down the field.
Diaz waits, Neon Gabiri, as they go right into a defender's leg.
And that block on Neon Gabiri's take right there is going to be where Jay Heaps wants his team to kind of live and not retreat any further than that unless the byline is able to be taken from Loudoun, because you don't want your team retreating into their own 6-yard box. That is about the line of confrontation you want in some of those emergency defensive moments, because it felt like in the first half they had just gone so deep. They were almost playing on the line with their goalkeeper and just inviting so many bodies in and around the box.
Look at this. Wow. Diaz was about to pick that ball up with empty space in front and eyes on a goal. Instead, a whistle for a foul. What a really good first touch that is. Rolls it across. 3 Loudoun defenders stymie. And then a terrific turn from Neon Gabiri. We saw 2 really good sets of skills there from wingers. Diarbian. Birmingham not satisfied with the 2. Thoughts of a third. Senge heads this into a dangerous spot. Flag up, however, for offside. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. In a pocket here, finally gives it over. Eamon crosses, and Kolelatz easily picks it up and now starts the counter.
And Anthony Limbrick and his side are going to be pleased with some of the chances they're generating on the goal, but just not able to reward themselves with clean look at goal. And for Jay Heaps and his side, mentioned in the first half, now you have a goal advantage. How do you let that defensive posture and that attitude guide the next few plays where you can influence this result? So we see the foul here on Diarbian. Not one you're gonna put too much thought into, because in terms of just try to get back on the ball and concede a free kick deep. This is where, for both teams, you need to show that these are not trends and themes that are going to live and tell the story of your season. Birmingham, you take a lead. You concede the equalizer. Obviously, you had that 2-0 lead at Charleston, who beat Lou City today. So obviously, Charleston is one of those teams in the East to reckon with. And Birmingham, you had a 2-0 advantage on them. So you had them on the ropes. Same thing here. Take a goal lead, now you have a 2-1 lead. See this game out, manage the tempo, manage any sort of momentum. You're gonna have to suffer in some moments, but you get to choose how you suffer. And how does that play out? And for Loudoun, continue to get yourself back in this game, but do it earlier, sooner than later, so that you give yourself an opportunity to find a third, as we see a talking to from the center official.
Amir Daly has an extended chat with Jay Sergen. Eamon, Awuah back for Eamon, slides it up top. Murphy, Awuah, off of Daly's backside, it sidewinds out. Corner kick coming. Marcos Diaz back to take another corner kick. Big question that Anthony Limbrick had for him. What is he creating? Let's find out here. Diaz drives it back post and over everybody. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 in the Sirius XM app.
Now here in the second half, we've seen kind of a reversal in final third entries. 10 for Birmingham, 8 for Loudoun. 2 of those for Loudoun have turned into touches in the opposition box, so the efficiency quite a dip, and then 7 of the 10 turned into touches in the opposition box for Birmingham. So decisive play that we've seen thus far.
Neon Gabiri, in all sorts of traffic, commits the foul.
I mentioned it with Diarbian on the other side. Making that effort to get back in the ball, you can see the foul, but you do also want to make sure that you don't pick up a yellow card in that moment, because especially when you're in those wide areas, and you're as aggressive as those two players are, you want to put yourself in a position where you can put some pressure on the defender, take a big touch past him, get physical. Also be physical in some of those final third moments inside the box.
Good balance here. Diarbian gets shoved that time. Asenge ultimately wins it cleanly. Diaz in the middle of the field. The maestro rolls wide. Awua. Eyes up. Arcs it in. And an easy catch for Kolelat. We have seen a little bit of the wind play a little bit of a factor. It is blowing in that direction, so difficult to get good crosses in. Diarbian at the other end. Game opening up now. 25 minutes left. Pasher goes wide. Cross knocked away. Santos. Over the top this time, running after it. Eamon brings it down. Dribbles at a defender this time. Eamon towards the touchline. Shovels it up top. There's nobody there. Neon Kabiri late. Diarbian. Maybe too fast for his own teammates here. Williams slows things up. Twirls around the first.
Diarbian has stepped up his influence here in the second half, and then, to your point, kind of broke away from his own team, but count on Romario Williams able to be cheeky on the ball there and get his teammates back on and back involved.
That's the second time Diaz nearly had a breakaway on an opportunity that stops because he hears a whistle, and we're going to see a yellow card back behind things. I don't know if it was something that was said or if it was for a foul prior to that.
You get the impression that it was something said because it was immediately after this, and probably making the same point that you were just making. This is two opportunities that Diaz was off and running and got halted for a foul. What you hope for Loudoun is that they don't allow some of these subtle moments to continue to kind of build themselves into bigger frustration and influence how they go at the Birmingham goal. Link-up play here.
Asher passed the first. Daly leads this pass in. Daly loses it out for a goal kick. James Murphy, the man that was pinned with a yellow card there, presented by Continental Cards. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download it now on your favorite device.
And the representation in the 18-yard box that we were seeing from Loudoun in the first half, we have now seen the roles reverse, and Birmingham doing a terrific job of being aggressive in the times that they climb the field and the spaces they occupy, and their substitutes have come on and made an impact. We've seen obviously for Loudoun, Neon Kabiri being on the ball, and also for Birmingham, Tregarthen has been electric in that wide area.
Neon Kabiri wins that ball cleanly. Birmingham gets out of their own end here. Diarbian again. Unable to get past that. That's a well-timed slide tackle. Neon Kabiri. Just able to slow it down here is Eamon. Eamon recycles. Loudoun looking for a tire and gives it away again. Loudoun riding a 6-match winless run at home. 3 of those 4 losses have been by just 1 goal. And will it be deja vu all over again for this group? '70th minute, Birmingham 2, Loudoun 1. Tyler Posher's 2nd goal of the match in the 54th minute untied this game. Murphy provides the pressure. Good read, Neon Gabiri doesn't get the right touch on it. That ball goes over the top, chasing after it. Diarbian wins the race. And Beaudry sends it to midfield.
Good idea from Diarbian, just it didn't come off, and that's where you see a lot of teams that want to build through the back. We just saw the sequence with Birmingham, that when you add that vertical ball, that rangier pass, you're still counting on getting on the second ball, regardless of who gets that touch. You saw Neon Gabiri get on the ball, but that touch came right back to Birmingham, and they were able to go and get Diarbian on the ball, as we see another yellow card for Loudoun.
Brought to you by Continental Cards. Thor Yolfarson is the one that enters the books. He's been quiet in the second half.
He has a lot of influence from Birmingham on those entry passes. Loudoun have attempted 13 crosses in this match, which is higher than their season average of 12.3, and that we just have not seen that final quality on the services. We've seen Loudoun access that space, which is a lot of the battle, but you need to find that composure and that final detail that rewards all the runs and the spaces in and around Kolelat. Really haven't forced him into anything challenging here in the second half.
To that point, only 1 second half shot from Loudoun. Their attack is stalled in half number 2. Meanwhile, Birmingham have been much more comfortable. Daly back pedals to the touchline. Excellent first touch. Rolls it along the sideline. Now underlaps. Wants it back. Cannot get it because it's deflected out. And Birmingham get a corner out of this sequence. Their 2nd of the match. The 31-year-old Pasher will take it. Has never had a hat trick in the USL. You can see the wind blowing. It's pushing away from goal. Pasher pounds it across. Williams will watch this one roll out for a throw. Loudoun is making a change at this sequence. It's going to be Adnan coming out. And Kimi Ordonez is coming in. 22-year-old native of Cincinnati, who has been well traveled after his time with FC Cincinnati when he began his career. Ryan Martin was really thrilled to get him last year. 4 goals a season ago in limited time. And now tries to be an impact player here in the final 15 or so.
And that's going to be that threat that Anthony Limbrick and his side are going to want to present, because now You're definitely not in desperation mode because you still got plenty of time, but you definitely want to generate the chance to equalize here soon if you want to give yourself an opportunity to score a third. A big intervention there because those were two solid runs going forward. But you also want to do it in a fashion for Loudoun that you don't leave yourself susceptible to concede a third.
Birmingham are going to make two changes in this spot. Kadeem Cole and Ronaldo Damas are coming in. Pasher leaves with his brace and Romario Williams as well. So two of the most experienced players on the pitch tonight come off. And great shifts from both of them. Pasher with the brace for the first time in a USL game in just over 3 years. And we'll also utilize this as a chance for a hydration break in this one in half two to give both teams a chance to reset. And Loudoun need it right now with just 1 second half shot in the game. And two teams that are desperate for wins early in the season that have spent a grand total of 59 minutes between the two in the lead entering this game. And it all started in the 16th minute off of a counter-attacking opportunity. Pasher finishes right in front.
Yeah, good recognition, good aggression going forward, and a terrific ball played in. Good response from Loudoun. They had a couple corners. Obviously, the goal for Birmingham was scored off of a counterattack from an attacking corner, and then this ball played in from Romario Williams. Tyler Pasher collects his brace for the day. Obviously, he was just subbed off, but what a shift those two have had. And then for Birmingham, you bring off Romario Williams, but then you bring on one of the most challenging attacking presences to bottle up in Ronaldo Damas. So it doesn't get any easier for Loudoun here as they look to find the equalizer and limit some of the threat from Jay Heaps' group.
Yeah, Damas, a former League One Golden Boot winner, had 18 goals during the championship season with Orange County in 2021 when he was the USL Cup MVP, scoring a couple goals in that game. So another level that Loudoun have to contend with, trailing by a goal on the home field. Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky, and our team with you here as we set the stage for the finish line of this one. Ordonez doesn't get a ton on that in the end, but nevertheless, confidence off of the bench, and Loudoun hopes there's more of that here in the final 15 minutes. He knocks that ball away. Murphy, Ordonez again sets up. Ordonez glides through two, cannot hold on to it. Mark McCartney picks it up. Loudoun with their best pressure of the day right now, winning the ball back. Damas steps in, and he commits the foul. Loudoun get a really good look at a free kick here.
And this is what happens when you can cause that chaos and that havoc in being defensively sturdy, in causing turnovers. Now you put yourself in a position where you could be ultra aggressive. But you gotta get the delivery.
Diaz sends it across. And we get a penalty off of a free kick on a ball that was cleared away by Birmingham. Joe Sergin decides there's a penalty.
I'm fascinated to get a look here. The delivery is exactly what you want, and it does look like he gets tripped up a bit, but it does look like incidental in terms of just the coming together of cleats. Does not look like anything that would be of intent.
So it is going to be Kimi Ordonez with a chance to tie this game up. Ordonez laces. Ordonez hits the targets. For the second time in the game, Loudoun have erased a one-goal deficit. 2-2 on the scoreboard here in Virginia.
Here's the delivery, and talked about them being ultra aggressive. You needed the quality in the delivery. And you get the coming together, going into the box, and then the composure is everything here. You delay the approach just enough to get Kolelot going to his right. Then all you need to do is be clinical and getting this on frame. Game on, still plenty of time for both these teams to go after the third goal. Obviously, Birmingham's gonna feel hard done about conceding that penalty.
Ulfarsson likes to go to the middle of the field before cutting back. We have had some high-scoring fixtures between these teams before. Birmingham won 6-1 back in 2022. There have been several times both teams have scored twice, including during the 2024 season when Loudoun won 4-2 on this field. And we have 10 more minutes in a 2-2 contest to decide a winner here, as 2 of the 5 teams without a victory this season match up.
And I think the man that was just on the ball for Birmingham is going to have an important say on how this game plays out. Shashua, so instrumental in that first goal. What a fantastic ball clipped in to instigate that transition moment for Birmingham, and you could see his involvement kind of dim here in the second 45, as we've talked about. Ulfarsson for Loudoun. So can he get himself on the ball, especially now with the entry of Ronaldo Damas?
Diaz gets hit there. Birmingham have now conceded 5 goals to opponents' substitutes this year. This one a penalty, but nevertheless they've given up all but 1 goal this season in the second half.
And Jay Heaps, you can see him still having a discussion with the 4th official, because this is going to feel almost like deja vu. Obviously the scoreline being different at Charleston. They had that 2-0 halftime lead. Obviously it got to 2-1 and conceded a penalty to get it to 2-2 to Emilio Icaza. Then eventually conceded the game winner late in stoppage time. And then same thing here, you're up 2-1 and then penalty to equalize. Now can they find that next level and push through, because it's 2 matches in a row that you find yourself at level at 2-2 late in the match. Can you learn from it and go after this game? I know the frustration is high. I know it is difficult to move past that moment.
He is coming to the sideline. He was motioning to the bench, and his shift was done. They have Elvis Amo, might be the most likely choice, and indeed it is. A 34-year-old from Ghana in his second stint with Loudoun. Also played here during 2019-2020 years. And with 45 goals in the USL. So we're seeing some of the high-level goal scorers in this league coming in late with a chance to make something happen. Diaz is off. This is going to be a booking. It's going to go against Santos, and he's going to be the 4th different Loudoun player to be shown a yellow card. And Amo is coming in here officially in the 84th minute.
And for both these teams, showcases how these players, their game continues to evolve as we see Santos getting into the tackle and picking up the yellow. But for Elvis Amo and Ronaldo Damas and Romario Williams, the trust and the belief that they have from the coaching staff, the players around them, that, you know, Ronaldo Damas comes on, and obviously he's an electric playmaker, but you're asked to come on with a 2-1 advantage. So you're asked to see that game out, but also add that attacking presence. So same thing, Elvis Amo, he's gonna understand his role.
Throw here. 5 minutes plus stoppage time remain. The score line is 2 goals apiece. In the 11th all-time inning, Birmingham have won 6 of the first 10 times these two sides have hit the field together. A thrilling finish in store here in the USL Championship. Mo gets undercut. He was the last to touch it. Will it be Ilfarson? Will it be Damas? He nods that ball past the first man. Asenge shoves, and the whistle comes, and Asenge gets a yellow card as well.
And you could see Shashua wanted to go fast. He knew that foul was coming because Ronaldo Damas was so clever on the ball, on the bounce, giving Asenge no choice.
Anthony Limbrick told us that it was a positive they had this game after that Open Cup disappointment on Wednesday night against Richmond. They were able to get straight back into training to get ready for this matchup. The team trying to get right here. The beginning of April sees the score line even at 2. Wide left it goes. Cross comes in. Damas leaps. Akinyone, who played with Birmingham back in 2020, sends that out. Birmingham get a rare corner, just their 3rd of the game.
Meet the players of Bradford Signature, presented by Continental Car.
88th minute now. Corner kick bends in. Beaudry catches right on his line. Like a running back, he splits 2 defenders and wants to go fast. The goal has galvanized this Loudoun team after it had been sputtering in the second half. Ordonez has also added a little burst that they had been missing.
And this is not going to be something that they're going to address now, but you like the response, but you don't always want to have to put yourself in a position where you've got to respond in this manner. But Anthony Limbrick has to be pleased with the belief of his squad, regardless of what's coming and what's happening in a match. They've been able to grow into both halves, but can you start on the front foot? Birmingham pushing. Find the 3rd. This game is going to start to open up. Good ball.
Cross whipped in. Beaudry can't get a piece to slow. Tregarthen in. Damas swings the leg. Awuwa lays it forward. Ordonez looks. Pushes it forward. Yolfarson chases. Flag goes up. Offside. I think he wanted the ball maybe a second faster, and he couldn't hold that run up long enough.
Yeah, that split second that it took to get back on the right foot was enough.
The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for complete USL TV listings. Corner kick. Birmingham starting to add those up here in the second half, and particularly late as they try to get an equalizer. Tregarthen heads over there to take this one. Sebastian, second year with the group. And at NAIA power, Lindsey Wilson throws this ball in. Headed back into the mixer, still not out. Damas backpedals. Damas commits the foul. James Murphy, the man that goes down, and Damas gets shown a yellow card.
Ronaldo Damas, that touch just gets away from him, and James Murphy gets the timing to this tackle. To the point we were just making about Loudoun and them being the ones that want to push the tempo, and the quick turnaround from the Wednesday matchup. That was a late winner for Richmond kickers, a 96th minute. So that is as difficult and challenging to accept in a 1-0 defeat. You play that long and then you lose late. So can you take that and then be very effective here in the final moments?
Minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by Novak. Will one of these two teams come away winners? If so, it'll be dramatic. Ordonez, Yulfarson tried the clever pass, does not work. Good step by Akinyode. Asenge, Neon Kabiri lines it up. Santos, Ordonez slaloms in. Amo is offside. Well, there's one other match currently in action. Colorado Springs have tied Lexington in the 79th minute off of a penalty, much like the case here, when Ordonez's penalty in the 79th minute tied the score at 2 apiece. Birmingham have led 1-0 and 2-1. But perhaps a split of the points on the docket today. Midway through stoppage time. And that ball out of play, right towards Anthony Limbrick. And he's getting yanked on by the former Loudoun man, Keegan Hughes. And those two go back and forth, and Limbrick is the one that gets shown a yellow card.
And you could see Keegan Hughes wanting to go fast. This is where both these teams are going to be delicate with some of the situations that they create here. You want to make sure that you can create a quality look. What a ball over the top.
Awuah, loads of space. Awuah drills it in. Late arriving run. Not handled by Kolelat. A foul is whistled, however, as Amo was darting it.
Well, there's that delicate balance that I was just about to allude to. That ball played over the top. Awuah is going to want this first and second touch back because this kind of gets stuck underneath his feet. He's able to take a bigger touch forward. You're going to drag some more numbers across and make Birmingham thin out the box defensively, but you want to generate a clear-cut opportunity, but you also don't want to leave yourself open and available to concede a goal.
Maybe the last chance of the night coming right here. Tregarthen begins his dribble, beats the first man, beats the second, yells for a penalty. You can see the reaction of Jay Heaps. He had a penalty call go against his way about 15 minutes ago. Loudoun looked for the last chance. Awuah dribbles past the first two, lifts it over the top. Amo gets the piece. Whistle here. This will likely be a yellow. Thought maybe for a second it would be a red. Washington, who played with Loudoun just a couple years ago, gets shown a yellow, and it's going to be a free kick with a chance to win it for Loudoun. Continental Cards brings you your yellows.
Box-to-box action. I mean, we got Birmingham appealing for a penalty in one end, and then Loudoun says, we're not going to wait for this argument. We're just going to go ahead and play down the field and earn a free kick of our own. And this has got to be one of the final actions of this match. And you can see Loudoun, can you kind of subtly gain territory in where this free kick gets played and put it in an area where you feel comfortable taking it.
Thor Gylfarsson will take it. He had a free kick hit the post against Tampa Bay. He can do everything with the ball, but right now, what he wants to do is have his sweetest free kick of all time. At this point, you would think it would be a winner. I imagine the final whistle is moments away.
And you wonder if this just kind of opens up the freedom to go at goal and feel like, hey, I can be very aggressive here.
In a 2-2 game, a chance to win it. Thor Gylfarsson unloads just high. That ends it. A chance to win it in the end is all Loudoun could have asked for here this evening, but the two teams split the points for the first time since 2019 after 8 straight results in the fixture and a 2-2 draw this evening.
Yeah, both teams having to navigate the ebbs and flows that you kind of naturally see within matches, but you have to like the way that these two teams kind of win after this match and were aggressive when the moments kind of presented themselves, but also they're going to look back at some of these moments where they could have taken better control and could have managed the match a bit differently. And Jay Heaps and Birmingham are going to look at points left out there, because when you have a lead twice, you want to be able to see that out. And they've had good starts to each half. They just were not able to finish it out. Obviously, Jay Heaps and his side are going to feel hard done about the conceded penalty, but good moments to build off of, good foundational pieces that they can kind of catapult into the rest of the season.
2 goals apiece. Loudoun come back from goal deficits twice in the game. Tyler Pasher begs a brace, but it's 1 point apiece. We'll step out for a break, and we'll recap the night here in Leesburg in a moment.
Business success requires more than just technology. It demands a strategic connectivity game plan, relentless agility, and a human touch. We offer business-only, carrier-grade connectivity, cybersecurity, voice and cloud tailored to meet the diverse needs of our clients. Segra is one of the largest nationwide independent commercial fiber companies in the U.S., with a fiber network infrastructure spanning 28 states. We are Segra. Connectivity, support, solutions.
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novec. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novec also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novec is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novec.com/save.
A pair of winless teams play to a thrilling 2-2 draw this evening. Back and forth we went, but ultimately a point goes back to each team's respective dressing rooms. Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky, and our team recapping the day in this one. And Birmingham came out off of a counterattack, and it's Tyler Pasha that puts this one in after Vassell with a great pass forward.
Yeah, aggressive outlet from Diarbian, and then Shashua with this left-footed direct pass, and then good decision-making all around here on the finish. The pass from Vassell, the finish from Tyler Pasha, just continuing his run. Then continuing to be aggressive for Loudoun on corner kicks because they just conceded in transition. Good delivery, and then make first contact, put yourself in a position where you're opportunistic, but you're also positionally dominant. James Murphy able to tuck away his first goal in a Loudoun United kit. And Romario Williams, crafty ball played across. Good shape, good pace. And then Tyler Pasha, that man again, good initial touch, sets himself up to beat Adam Beaudry, who had come up with a big save just a few moments before to keep it at 1-1. And then this delivery, the foul on Asenge, earning the penalty, and composure from Ordonez to tuck this away. Gets Kolelat going to his right. Just had to hit frame at that point, and really felt like with the back and forth that we were seeing box to box, we had a game winner in this match. This came off of the appeals from Birmingham for a penalty on one end, and then Loudoun go down, earn a dangerous free kick, and Olforsen puts it right over the crossbar, able to beat the wall, but just not able to get the dip at the end to put it on frame.
So the teams with 2 goals apiece, and that's how things end. Loudoun in this one hold their opponents to less than 8 shots on target for the first time all season long. But what's your overall recap and look forward for these two teams?
The moments that come to define match and trying to control some of those, because for Loudoun, the second goal off a turnover at midfield, Romario Williams able to be ruthless in that moment, clinical. And then for Birmingham, this is 2 matches in a row that they've had a lead, had a 2-0 lead against Charleston, saw that lead dissipate, eventually lost that game. This one they earn a point, but they're gonna still want to look at how they manage the match after getting a lead to go into especially a tough match versus Pittsburgh coming up at home. Loudoun hosting Lou City, so both these teams facing teams that are gonna be very difficult in the East.
For Birmingham, it's the 3rd time in the last 5 years that they start the year being winless in their first 4. For Loudoun on the other side, they have gone winless in their last 7 at home. In the end, it's 2-2 on the scoreboard. First draw between these two sides since 2019. For my partner tonight, Eric Dobransky, and the rest of our crew, I'm Michael Watring. We're Loudoun and Birmingham end this one level 2-2. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.